Look, I'll give you my perspective on DSA and dev. I'm not going to follow the script of every YouTuber. What is DSA? What is dev? You already know that. I don't see DSA and dev to be two separate things, but rather I see it as stages to making my journey towards a career or towards education or something. Fulfillment, basically loving what I do. When I was in my BSc honors degree back in 2011, all that I was leading with was my interest for the subject. In those days, when I was going to my college in my bachelor's degree, I was not even thinking of jobs. I was not even thinking of a career or anything like that. All that I was leading with was my interest for computer science. I never saw DSA as an entity in on itself, but I saw DSA as a part of a larger picture of computer science. Dev happens, in my opinion, dev happens when you are good enough with your fundamentals of computer science. That can include DSA, or that should include DSA, more rather. Because when it comes to basics, there is a lot more things about the basics of computer science outside of DSA as well. I got to work with Intel 8085 microprocessor in my BSc third year. That was to me a whole different ride. There was no DSA involved in that subject. But when I got the Intel 8085 kit right in front of me, it felt like a completely different world. I got to play with assembly language. And that to me was a completely different dimension of a subject. And I still reminisce about it till now. And that's what told me like how many things we take for granted when we write Python or Node.js or anything like that. We take so many things for granted. We just write one line of code and then we can do so many things with that. But think of that in assembly, it will open up the vast ocean of computer science for you. DSA is just a portion of the learning. It's just a stage of learning rather than a completely different world for me. And dev, making projects, making something tangible and try to sell it or for your own practice or whatever, should happen when you are good enough, when you're feeling confident about what you are dealing with. I think the problem with modern software engineering is that we tell people that you should make projects in JavaScript, you should make project in Python, Spring Boot, whatever. But we don't tell them to do it in C or C++, where you really get to dive deep and play around with memory addresses or CPU registers or whatever. We don't do that. As a result, when you make projects in those high-level languages, you never get a peek behind the curtain. There is so much knowledge out there that is like hidden away, encapsulated from you, that you never bother to figure out. When you take a peek behind the curtain, this is when dev should happen. Now you are ready to build things out of what you have learned so far, and DSA is just a part of it. So the question for me is never about DSA versus dev, it's more like DSA before dev. This is the sentiment that stays in my head, that yeah, DSA is important, 100%. If I'm making a living out of my knowledge of computer science, of course I should know DSA and any other aspect that my courses had to offer. My courses, more like my degrees, had to offer. Not only should I learn DSA, but I should learn everything, not everything, as much as possible that it has to offer for me. And people who say to me, like, my college is not good enough and everything, see, there is certain thing that I think about the education sector in the sense that when you are in college, you are already mature enough that you should not be dependent on your college for the entire thing. Yes, you can make the argument that you're paying money to them, but still there is some part of me that thinks that you should not be dependent on just one panel of teachers or just one group of friends or whatever. Ultimately, you have to take the responsibility on your own shoulders and you have to explore by yourself. And I do mean by yourself. Not any YouTuber, not any paid course, not anything that supplements your hard work and gives it off to someone else. And when you do that, when you spend time alone in this vast ocean of computer science and you try to absorb as much as possible, the more confidence you gain. And as a result, your dev process, when you get to the project building stage, it gets that much easier for you. Because right now, even in 2025, I get students who are asking me that they have no idea what they are building. Their idea is in their head that they want to build a medicine like software, they want to build a library management or whatever, but they don't know how to get there. They don't know how to materialize those projects into the computer. And this is where I say that learning should happen at certain level so that you know the tools that the computer has to give to you so that you can string them together and you can create the solution that you have in your head for a customer that is a potential customer or a client that you're working with. So this is my opinion about DSA and dev. DSA before dev, obviously, And I should even modify this thing, learning before dev instead of DSA before dev. But DSA is just part of learning. DSA is not the only thing you should learn about computer science. There is so much more. Automata theory, computer architecture, and so many more subjects like that. I can't remember my own curriculum right now, but DSA is just a part of it. There you go. This is what I think about computer science. My love for the subject tells me that I should cover as much ground as possible rather than looking at certain things and cherry pick them and just look at it as, if I don't do this, I will land a job. It's fine. No, that's not how I look at it. And that's what I encourage you to do as well. If you are in it, go all in, study all that you can, put in as much effort as possible, and just go for it. I'm sorry, I ran out of my vocabulary. So yeah, this is what my opinion is about the argument of DSA versus dev. No, it's more like learning before dev. There you go. See you in the next one. I kind of feel like CS is more about breaking down problems and finding mini solutions over just like building software. Finding mini solutions should follow a pattern or, an architecture is how I see it. You're really talking about functional programming. Functional programming is exactly about this. And if we talk about object-oriented programming, this is where you follow a pattern, follow a standard, market, how the market accepts it. I'm good at dev, horrible at DSA. I feel like the people in my college that know nothing about CS will be placed, and I won't because I'm bad at DSA. No, no. That's a wrong mentality to have. Very creative name, 0001. Okay, I fell for it. DSA are fundamental constructs of programming. I mean, sure, I agree. DSA is fundamental, yes, but there are other things. They are fundamental as well. Like, I hate it. I mean, this is why I don't like this argument, DSA versus dev. Like, they make it seem like DSA is the only thing that you need to learn for computer science. Like, there is so much out there. Automata theory, compiler design, just get into it. It will blow your mind. I think you can do dev even you do 30, 40 DSA questions that give a good understanding. It's not about whether you can pull DSA, whether you can pull dev off. This is the thing that I talked about. We should not be in this mindset that let me do 50 grams of JavaScript and 30 grams of Tailwind and then I'll get into making projects. It's not how this works. Definitely 100%. Architecture, understanding structures, network systems, compilers. I always ask this myself, how hype DSA is solely that no one focuses on big picture. See, I used to think OOP is CPP and C was just realized OPP is different. DSA is tool for making projects like game engine and things. This is something that I also made the mistake back when I was in college. Yeah. I used to think object-oriented programming, it means C++ and nothing else, without realizing that you can do object-oriented programming in any high-level programming language you want.